As we all know, Hermione Granger was sorted into Gryffindor, but what if she got sorted into Ravenclaw? This is a very popular debate amongst the Potterheads. The Sorting Hat actually spent a long time deliberating over Hermione. And why, you may be asking? Well, Hermione Granger and Neville Longbottom came closest to being Hatstalls. Hatstall is an archaic Hogwarts term for any new student whose sorting takes longer than 5 minutes. This is an exceptionally long time for the Sorting Hat to deliberate, and occurs rarely, perhaps once every 50 years. And the Hatstalls are usually between Ravenclaw and Gryffindor, as they're quite similar. The Sorting Hat spent nearly 4 minutes trying to decide whether it should place Hermione in Ravenclaw or Gryffindor, according to Pottermore. As for why Hermione is sorted into Gryffindor over Ravenclaw, I think she answered this herself in Philosopher's Stone. On the Hogwarts Express, she shows a clear preference for Gryffindor over Ravenclaw. I've been asking around and I hope I'm in Gryffindor. It sounds by far the best. I hear Dumbledore himself was one, but I suppose Ravenclaw wouldn't be too bad. We know the Sorting Hat takes your choice into account, so if it was struggling to place her, then it might use her preference as the deciding factor. Later in the dungeons, as they're trying to get to the Philosopher's Stone, we have this particularly telling line. "I'm not as good as you," said Harry, very embarrassed as she let go of him. "Me," said Hermione. "Books and cleverness, there are more important things. Friendship and bravery and... Oh, Harry, be careful." She also mentions it when somebody asks her about a particularly complicated piece of magic in Order of the Phoenix. "How come you're not in Ravenclaw?" Terry-But demanded, staring at Hermione with something close to wonder. "With brains like yours." "Well, the Sorting Hat did seriously consider putting me in Ravenclaw during my sorting," said Hermione brightly, "but it decided on Gryffindor in the end." Hermione holds the values of Gryffindor, courage and bravery, higher than those of Ravenclaw, raw intelligence and knowledge. She doesn't just value these traits, she exhibits them throughout the books. She encourages Harry to start Dumbledore's army, she fights with him in the Ministry of Magic, she works alongside him in the hunt for Horcruxes. But she starts off as a stereotypical know-it-all, and we don't really see much courage or bravery. The Sorting Hat placed her in Gryffindor because she has the traits of a Gryffindor within her, and placing her in that house can bring them out. She's already very studious and intelligent, more than a lot of Ravenclaws, so I think she has more to gain from Gryffindor than Ravenclaw. A lot of people say that the trio represent other houses. Hermione is Ravenclaw, Ron is Hufflepuff, and Harry is Slytherin. They're all in Gryffindor because they asked. You have to ask to be in Gryffindor because their most defining feature is bravery, and anyone can choose to be brave. Some say that J.K. Rowling wanted to avoid house hopping. She wanted characters that would interact. It would have been more difficult to let them interact if the trio were in different houses. Here's a fun little fact for you. Professor Flitwick and Professor McGonagall were both Hatstalls and almost ended up in the opposite houses. Can you imagine Professor McGonagall as the head of Ravenclaw or Professor Flitwick as the head of Gryffindor? I can't. So now, what would change in the story if Hermione was in Ravenclaw? Well, let's start off with Philosopher's Stone. The very first problem would be finding a book about Nicholas Flamel. As we know, Hermione was the one who found the book and showed it to Ron and Harry, while they were both very confused. It would probably take them a long time to find the book without Hermione, and they would probably have to ask around for help, which would be very, very suspicious. Another problem is when Harry and Ron fight the troll. Ron would not know how to properly cast Wingardium Leviosa without Hermione. But would it even be needed? They wouldn't even go to the bathroom in the first place, and Hermione wouldn't even be there.
Cool.
Hermione also saved Harry when Professor Quirrell tried to make him fall off his broom. The question is, would Snape save him? Hermione also saved Harry and Ron from the Devil's Snare. She saved Harry by telling him what to do, and she saved Ron by casting a spell. She even solved the puzzle to get into the last room. Now, would Harry and Ron get into the last room? It's possible, but keep in mind Ron could not concentrate at the Devil's Snare. In Chamber of Secrets, Hermione was petrified by the basilisk. I think she would be petrified as a Ravenclaw as well, simply because she's a Muggle-born. One very important key to take into consideration is that she was the one who found out that the monster was in fact a basilisk, and that helped a bunch. But besides that, I don't really think anything else would be different. In Prisoner of Azkaban, Hermione guessed the time turner from Professor McGonagall. The question is, would she still have gotten the time turner as a Ravenclaw? Possibly, probably not though. This would mean that Hermione would not have taken Harry back in time to warn themselves, which also means they would not save Buckbeak. Harry's and Sirius' soul would have been sucked out because Harry would not be able to save both of them. And if he did, Sirius would have gone back to Azkaban and would be punished for breaking out. In Goblet of Fire, Hermione would probably still go out with Viktor Krum. As we know, Hermione's feelings for Ron were strong by now, so that means if she wasn't friends with Ron, she would have enjoyed the Yule Ball with Viktor. Hermione helped Harry by reminding him to use the summoning spell to get his broom and escape with the golden egg. What would have happened if Harry didn't summon his broom? Would he still defeat the dragon, or not? In Order of the Phoenix, nobody believes Harry about Voldemort's return. Hermione discovers Rita Skeeter is an illegal animagus and blackmails her into giving Harry a fair interview for the Daily Prophet. However, sooner or later everyone would find out about Voldemort's return anyway, and they would look like clowns to Harry, in my opinion. She encouraged Harry to start Dumbledore's army. Hermione also saves Harry from Umbridge when she tried to cast Crucio, which I still find terrible. You should not be a teacher. In Half-Blood Prince, nothing much really happens.
I am the chosen one. Okay, sorry.
Except this bit. In Deathly Hallows, Hermione would not be fighting Snatchers or hunting Horcruxes, and would probably be at home with her parents. She apparated Harry and Ron from place to place to keep them safe, and she even healed Ron's splinched arm. He would have probably died if she didn't help him. She drank a Polyjuice potion to transform into Bellatrix. I think Hermione would do pretty well in Ravenclaw. The story would obviously have some massive changes if she wasn't in Gryffindor. Anyways, that's all I have for now. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Should Hermione be in Ravenclaw or Gryffindor? And why? Thank you everyone so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Drop a like, subscribe. I will try to make more videos like this in the future if you guys enjoy them. And yeah, I will see you later.